For today's episode of Z Files, I want to go into a fascinating phenomenon that happens once a year. That's right, folks. I'm talking about something called the Impossible Day. That's right. Each year, everybody, on July 8th, that's right, every year on July 8th, we see something called the Impossible Day. And I'm about to bring it to you. And I would explain to you why it's impossible. Because you see, it's not impossible based off objective reality. It's not impossible if you adhere to applied physical science. It's not an impossible day if you're able to use reason, logic, and critical thought. It's only an impossible day on the globe.
Hello, my dear friends. July the 8th was a very interesting day. It was the day that even the Weather Channel proclaimed to be an impossible day on the globe. It was the day when the heliocentric model shot itself dead. But first of
I want you to look at the image that we have here for you on the screen. What is it showing us? It's showing us that it's showing us a day, July 8th, particularly at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Time. There's a particular phenomenon that takes place. We find that on this day, 99% of the world population is in daylight. What do you mean, Z? Isn't everybody in daylight every day? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that at this particular time, at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on July 8th, every year, 99% of the world population is in sunlight, I should say. Sunlight as defined by daylight and twilight. Because we want to be exacting. For all the detractors who are going to come in here and say, "Oh, Z, you don't know what you're talking about, Z. What do you know? What do you know?"
I only found one video, and that was also made by the Weather Channel, trying to demonstrate this event on the globe. And as we can see here, the light of the sun clearly covers 60 to 70% of the globe. So we have 60 to 70% of the globe wrapped in sunlight. That's impossible on the heliocentric model. The sunlight cannot cover more than 50% of the globe. But as you see on this simulation by the Weather Channel, to be possible for the sunlight to cover all those regions on Earth, it's necessary that the sunlight covers between 60 to 70% of the globe. Not being able to show, many news channels are showing the Mercator's projection because that's the only one they can show.
One more thing this half hour. There is a rare phenomenon happening right now across the globe as of about...
I want to point out the word he used, phenomenon. His quote was, "There's a rare phenomenon happening across the globe." Well, you got it half right, good sir. Because indeed, we can observe the rare phenomenon, but we cannot observe this globe that you speak of. You keep saying it's a globe, but I don't know. How can you have this phenomenon where there's 99% of the world population in daylight if it's a globe? Let me help the listeners. Let me read you the definition of a phenomenon. Phenomenon: a fact or situation that is observed to exist or happen, especially one whose cause or explanation is in question. Couple things there. A fact or situation that is observed to exist or happen, It means it just is. There's no theory behind it. There's no conjecture behind a phenomenon. It just is. Meaning to say, we can prove that at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on each July 8th, that 99% of the world population is experiencing sunlight simultaneously. We don't have to go to school, get a degree to know that. We don't have to engage in any type of thought exercise, any type of theoretical science. It's not needed. We just know it. It just is. And the second part of the definition of phenomena, especially one whose cause or explanation is in question. Right. Because as I say, I am the zetetic warrior. Zetetic means to ask questions. Well, if this phenomenon is in question, why so? To me, it's only questionable if we're following your theory. Your theory that it's a globe. So as you say that this day is impossible, let me remind my listeners, a phenomena is not impossible. It's actually the opposite. Phenomena show things that are possible, things that exist. What kind of world have we entered where they tell us that things that are phenomena are impossible? Have we crossed over to such a state of delusion, coercion, and mind control that we now are classifying observable natural phenomena as impossible? What state have we entered? What state of consciousness can we be in that we adhere to theory and conjecture over observable, demonstrable reality? Let's continue.
About 3 minutes ago, 7:15 Eastern Time, 99% of the entire world's population is facing the sun. That means we're all experiencing some degree of sunlight at the exact same time, either full daylight or for a lot of other folks, twilight. If you look at the map right there, just the Pacific Islands and Australia, the Australian region, are fully in the dark. 99% of the world.
And California, poor California.
Yes.
You know what, though? What a cool phenomenon.
So you can try to say to me, you can look at this, you can look at this map that they're presenting here and say, oh, I could see, this makes sense to me how 99% of the world could be in sunlight at the same time. Based off this map that they're showing. This map is called the Mercator projection map. The Mercator projection map. This is the map, very likely, that was in the front of your classroom as you grew up going to your public school indoctrination camps. I mean public elementary school. This is the map that you're used to now. Just by showing sunlight on this map, you can say, oh, I get it. The Pacific Ocean's so huge. That's how. Let me ask you, who says that this is the map that represents reality? Not even those producing, distributing this map claim that this is the model. They say the model is a globe. So let me ask you, you guys have looked at a lot of globes. You grew up with the globe on your teacher's desk. You've seen the globe presentation in like a high percentage of Hollywood movies. Hey guys, have you ever noticed you've been watching a movie that's not even like sci-fi and they'll show you like a picture from space and the globe and they zoom in on like the location? Interesting. You've seen the globe many times. Hell, you've seen globe from these images from NASA. Remember when those Apollo astronauts were coming back from the moon, one of those moon missions, and they snapped a picture of that globe Earth they love showing you so much? We've seen a lot of globes Which globe have you ever seen that you can in some way justify to me any orientation of that globe that would put 99% of the world's population in daylight? I've never seen one. In a bit, maybe I'll show some images of the globe from space from NASA. And then maybe you and I could sit here and try to figure out how we can orient that globe to somehow convince us and everybody else that there can be an instance where 99% of the population would be in sunlight.
So it is impossible for the sunlight to wrap around the globe between 60 to 70%. So there is no other day like July 8th to demonstrate how wrong the heliocentric model is. And to better understand, all we have to do is to convert the Mercator projection into the flat Earth map and see how it makes more sense on the flat Earth map. With a small sun, a small local sun, you can see here how it illuminates those regions on Earth, leaving the majority of Earth in the dark. Only on the flat Earth model, even this map by Weather Channel, I converted into a flat Earth map, and you can see here it's better explained with a small and local sun circulating over the flat Earth. We can see how this is possible for a day like July the 8th. If you still believe in the heliocentric model, yesterday was the day for you to drop that model and realize we don't live on a spinning ball spinning around the universe.
Why don't you ask yourself the same question I ask myself? Is that if we live on a globe, the globe that they've shown us repeatedly, the globe that is being presented to me everywhere I turn on these screens, whether it's the news, whether it's academia or education, whether it's a Hollywood movie, why don't you ask the question, how could 99% of the world population ever experience simultaneous sunlight on that globe? Maybe ask that question before you ask me where the edge is, because while you're asking me where the edge is, you're participating in extreme logical fallacy. You're trying to falsify what you're conjecturing is, you're trying to falsify what you think I'm making as a claim. So as you think I'm claiming a model, you're not realizing I'm not claiming anything. I'm falsifying the model claimed by these so-called elite and these, let's say, prophets of the religion of scientism. Your question is flawed as you ask me where the edge is. Why don't you ask, where's the proof of this impossible globe that's being presented to you? You've been engineered out of your God-given ability for critical thought, logic, reasoning. You've been engineered out of your sovereignty, your ability for conscious thought, free choice, and free will. So I'm going to do my best each morning to kind of help you out of this delusion that you find yourself in. Because unlike some presenters, I'm not going to try to tell you what to think. I'm going to try to teach you how to think and leave the rest up to you.